quantum leap to attract that provider energy in your life. Now, this could be romantically, could be in your dating life, in your marriage, but it can also be in your business. It can be just in your reality where you truly live out this embodiment that you are the bride, you're Christ's bride, you're in your magnetic feminine energy where the world is providing for you. And this is gonna be so much fun. So today is more of a girl chat. Once again, usually I have my husband, Coach B, on here, but I'm really enjoying these moments where I get to go deeper with you ladies, these episodes where I get to go deeper with you and teach you more about your nervous system, teach you more about your feminine energy, teach you more about your hormones. So also let me know in the comments if you've been enjoying these girl chat episodes as well. And for those of you that are new here, what's up? I'm Natasha. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my world where I help you up level in all areas of your life. So I specialize in helping women really heal and re-regulate their feminine energy for dating and marriage to attract that amazing man that you want or turn your marriage around, and also re-regulating your nervous system and hormones. I'm a certified hormone coach. I'm a retired RN. I was a single mama, went through a whole bunch of trauma and loss, had 4 little babes when I became widowed and re-entered the dating scene later on in life. So I mean, that was such a culture shock for me as well, going from being previously married basically through my entire 20s to all of a sudden being widowed with 4 little kids and then trying to navigate the dating scene in the modern world, right? We know how much fun that is. But I was able to attract the most amazing man on the planet, my husband, my now husband, my romantic best friend. And not only did I attract him, but I've helped so many other women do the same thing. So this is not just something that Tash has done for herself, but I really specialize in helping other women get results. And a lot of women say that when they come into my world, and especially into the Feminine Energy Academy, and they get coached by me, it's the missing link for them. So my specialty is really, really helping you putting all the pieces together. So if you've invested a lot of money into coaching, like I did, a lot of money into coaching, a lot of money into programs, courses for maybe, sorry if you can hear my landscaping guy outside. Hopefully he'll be done soon. But anyway, yeah, so if you've noticed that you've spent a lot of money, you've spent thousands and thousands of dollars on coaching programs, on coaches, on mentors, on all these different things, but you still haven't quite gotten the results that you want in your love life or in maybe your business or maybe with your body even, then this episode is definitely, definitely for you because I'm going to teach you how to actually shift timelines, how to quantum leap, and to really be in that reality that you are trying to call in that is meant for you. And let me start off by saying that the fact that you're desiring this, for example, if you are desiring to get married, you're desiring to live that soft girl life, you're desiring to change jobs, you want a dream job, you're desiring to have that dream business. Maybe you're desiring to have babies. You're desiring to lose weight. You're on a glow up journey right now. Those are typically the women that come into my world. I want you to know that it's actually meant for you. The fact that you're desiring it shows that that reality already exists. And so what I teach my girls is that creation is already done. Salvation is already done. God's already created the entire universe in abundance, overflowing with love and with resources and with masculine men that want to provide and spoil you. It's overflowing with clients. It's overflowing with just resources for you, for all of us. But some of us are awakened to it and some of us are not. And I know that sounds really deep, but I like going deep with you ladies. I think, this is what really shifts your realities. And this is what gets my ladies the results. This month alone, the month of November, time of recording this, we had another 2 engagements and another 2 marriages happening this month. And these are women that came to us either single or in situationships, or some of them are single moms. and they're living this life too. So it's not just me. These are the concepts that I teach them. Because if you are a single mom, I'm going to use single mom as an example because that's where my heart is for the single mamas. You don't have the time or the resources or the energy to do things like everybody else, right? You don't. I mean, I know what it was. I was a single mom with 4 little kids. They were all under 8 years old when I became widowed. So I understand there's only so much of you. So this is when you really, really learn how to embody grace, to leverage what God has already provided for us in this abundant universe to get the results that we want, to get the desires of our heart. Even scripture says in Psalms 37 to delight ourselves in the Lord, in the masculine, in God, our heavenly Father, our husband, and he brings us the desires of our heart. So somebody needed to hear that today. God is telling you to stop chasing, stop hustling. He never called you to hustle and grind like a crazy lady. Maybe you're starting to feel a little bit crazy. You're meant to hear this for a reason. But instead, you're going to learn the stuff that I'm going to teach you today, and it's going to help you to relax. It's going to help you to really shift into a new reality, into a new identity that has those desires that are on your heart, that you have been craving, you just know it's for you. Like, just as an example, you just know deep down that you're meant to be married or you're meant to have a great marriage. I'm talking to you for a second, okay? You just know deep down that you're not meant to be working so damn hard, right? Like, you are such a good person. I know this because these are the type of women that I attract. We're the good-hearted women. We're the women that love to heal. We love to help people. All my doctors and nurses and coaches and therapists and network marketers and realtors. Those are typically the women that come into my world. And or they have this like dream business that they've been wanting to birth, but they've been struggling. You're feeling stuck. You feel like you're spinning your wheels. Girl, I know what that feels like, and it's so frustrating, especially if you've invested into courses, into coaching, and into programs. So the reason why this is happening, I'm going to give you 2 things to focus on, okay? So then the number one thing is your energetics, your feminine energetics. And you need feminine energetics and you need masculine structure to birth a baby, to birth your manifestation. That's what we're talking about today. And so let's start off with the energetics. So, I mean, you've heard this a lot where you're like, okay, self concept work where it's like, okay, I need to change my identity. I need to think different. I need to act different. I need to show up differently. I need to show up the version of me that's married. I need to show up as a version of me that has $1 million business or has a dream body or is super healthy, right? You know at a head knowledge that you need that and like you're doing vision boards, you're reading books, you're listening to podcasts, you're listening to my YouTube channel, you're doing all those things, you're hiring coaches, you're getting courses and all that stuff, but and maybe you feel like a little bit excited at the beginning, but things are just not changing, right? The reason why is because your energetics have not aligned. And going deeper than that, what that really means, this is not woo woo, this is not new age. This is your subconscious. This is your nervous system. Your nervous system has not aligned to that new identity, that new reality. And so that is going to be your starting point is reprogramming your nervous system to match that new identity, to match that new timeline. And when I say timeline, I know that might sound really woo woo for some people, but it's not woo woo. God is outside of time. God is outside of time. I mean, you just look at it all through scripture, God is outside of time. He doesn't fall into linear time like our worldly mind thinks. He's outside of that. Things can happen instantly. Things can shift instantly. But the thing is, when you are still holding on to that old identity, and I'll give you some signs that you're doing that, okay? Where your head is like at a head-based knowledge, you're like, okay, I'm going to do this. Yes, I'm going to lose the weight. I'm going to start the business. I'm going to start social media. I'm going to call in a higher cash months. I'm going to date. I'm done dating the losers. I'm only going to date men that are in their provider energy, like Tasha, Coach B always talks about. You're like, I'm going to do it. Yes, I'm going to do it, right? But then the nervous system, how the nervous system works, it has one job. The nervous system's job is to keep you safe. It's to keep you in the familiar. It does not care, babe, if you have a glow up. It does not care if you attract healthy provider masculine men that want to give you princess treatment or want to marry you or want to take you seriously. Your nervous system doesn't care. Your nervous system doesn't care if you are struggling financially or if you are living your best soft girl life, making high cash months consistently every month. Your nervous system doesn't care. The only thing your nervous system cares about is staying in what is familiar. So here's the beautiful work. This is what's going to help you. This is what helps my ladies quantum leap and be able to hold that new reality is first of all, you're making that decision of whatever it is that you're calling in, right? But then the inner work that you do, the hard work that you do have to do, it's not about hustling and grinding and chasing after men and chasing after opportunities, chasing after money. No, 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 no. We're not the masculine, we're the feminine bride, as Christ calls us, right? But our work that we have to do is the inner work, is the nervous system work. We got to clear out the old programs and it's subconscious. This is why it cannot happen from one live stream, from one course, from one video that you watched. Neuroplasticity takes time, takes repetition. I mean, this is one of the biggest things that I teach you ladies in the Feminine Energy Academy is how to actually rewire your subconscious mind to match your new reality. Now, you got to do this way before your 3D reality changes. You're not going to see the physical manifestations first. It truly is a walk by faith, not by sight. This is why God says walk by faith, not by sight, because God knows that you have to do the internal work first. The nervous system has to be reprogrammed first. And as that's reprogramming, I promise you, whoever's listening right now, hear my voice when I say this to you, okay? I promise you, if you keep doing the reprogramming work every day, you're pruning the old version of you, you're cutting off your old identity, and you're rewiring that new identity into your nervous system, into your subconscious mind. It is just a matter of time, babe, where your new reality will birth into the 3D realm. You will see it. You will see the fruit of it. But most people, this is because I've coached thousands of women up to this point over the last couple of years. And the women that are able to attract the husband, able to quit their job and start their business, or their business is thriving now, those are, or lose the weight, reverse PCOS, all that. I teach women how to do all those things. The women that are able to do that, yes, they go through those times where they're doubting themselves or they're struggling, but they don't quit. What they do is they get the coaching. They continue with the reprogramming. They continue with the nervous system re-regulating. They continue with that inner healing until they see the fruit in their life. The people that are like wishy-washy, where it's like, okay, perfect example, I'm going to get married, deciding you're going to get married, but then you're still dealing with the situationship. You're still obsessing about the guy that's breadcrumbing you. You're still obsessing, even if you're not even talking to him, you're mentally still obsessing about the guy that you broke up with last year, or he started ghosting you, or he just was not showing up. You're still obsessing about him. That is keeping you tethered to your old timeline. We are transformed by the renewing of our mind. What does mind mean? When you break down the word mind, that's your heart. That's actually your emotions. Your emotions are energy in motion, and that is closely tied to your nervous system. Yes, that's why we procrastinate. That's why we self sabotage. That's why we push things off. That's why we feel like we're stuck and we're spinning our wheels because at a subconscious level, we're still playing in old patterns. And so for you, this is what's going to set you free. I did a masterclass this past weekend with my ladies, and it's all about emotional mastery and emotional alchemy. And we went so deep on how to master your emotions. And so for you as a woman, and the reason why you should care about this is because and what I teach my ladies is you can only quantum leap realities, you can only shift realities to the degree you can hold that reality in your nervous system. Your nervous system is your container. If you can't hold that new reality in your nervous system, you will self-sabotage. The nervous system won't feel safe and you will go backwards. You will manifest drama, you'll manifest bills, you'll push the money away, you'll push the man away. You won't be able to receive it because you haven't done the inner work. You don't have the container, the nervous system capacity to hold that new reality. And it's meant for you. I mean, that's why you're even desiring it. And this is why you're watching this right now, is because this is the missing link for you. I know it is. I know this is a missing link for you. And for my ladies that are on this journey or in my, Feminine Energy Academy programs, keep going. Keep doing it. I promise you, babe, you keep doing this inner work stuff and it happens in layers. It's just a matter of time now that you're going to see. I mean, you already are starting to see the reality shift and things changing in your life, but it's you got to practice holding on to that new reality and that new identity. So, emotional mastery is your ability to control your emotions, to process your emotions, and to be able to channel your emotions. And if you haven't done your inner work, if you haven't been able to master your nervous system, some huge signs of that is that you are constantly triggered. You're triggered by what you're dealing with. You're triggered by men. You're triggered by people. You're triggered by financial situations that are going on. You're feeling stressed. You're feeling anxious. You're feeling overwhelmed. That's a huge one. I see this all the time with my ladies too, where they're calling in the husband. All these men want to date you or starting to date you, but then you feel overwhelmed, right? And I went through this too. So there's no shame here at all, babe. But I'm just letting you know what's going on internally so you don't judge yourself, so you don't feel bad about yourself, but so you know what to do differently. Okay. And that is, I mean, that is a big, big sign that the nervous system is just feeling super overwhelmed and dysregulated and wants to bring you back to that old timeline. Is because it just doesn't feel safe. It's too overwhelming. A lot of times it's because there's things that you haven't let go of that you're still holding on to. It's taking up emotional space. Just ask yourself right now, just be super honest with yourself. What is taking up mental capacity right now that is no longer serving me? That is not in alignment with that new timeline that I'm calling in, that new reality I'm calling in. Now, this can be men, this could be a guy, it could be just a person said something to you. It could be you're comparing yourself to something, right? It could be, you're not happy in the job that you're in and you're ready to make that change. You're ready to, you know, get paid to exist, which is what I teach my ladies. You get to have that where you're serving others, you're increasing your impact and influence in the world and people pay you for it 24/7. I get paid 24/7. I've been getting paid 24/7 for the last 10 years. That's the only reality I know is passive income from multiple streams, right? And even with my highs and my lows. But if you're desiring that, it's because it's meant for you, babe. If you're desiring to live in a better neighborhood, live in a better home, you have that charity that you want to do, you want to help women, all of these things, it's meant for you. But the only thing that's stopping you right now is that your nervous system is still tethered to your old reality. And this is an invitation for you to identify that and heal that, cut it off, let it go. If you are struggling with detaching, that is one of the biggest signs that you're still tethered to that old reality. And I always tell you, ladies, this that you cannot be in the frequency of husband that spoils you and wants to marry you and show up consistently with you and the frequency of situationships. You can't. It's like, just think of Netflix. I was going to say TV and radio, but people don't really use TV and radios anymore. But think of Netflix, okay? There's all these different channels happening at the exact same time. And depending on what channel you're tuned to is what you're going to see in your reality. That's what you're going to see. And so right now, there's different realities and versions of you happening at the same time because creation is already done. God's already answered your prayers, but it's what you're focused on. What are you focused on? What are you looking at? That's what you're going to see. That's what you're going to see manifest in your 3D reality. You literally, depending on what you're focused on with the man you're dating right now, you're going to activate different sides of him. Different women will activate different sides of the same person, men or women. So this is why you'll see one man who is just breadcrumbing women in situationships, lifelong bachelor, my husband, that's how he was before, right? But with another woman like myself, who is in a totally different reality, but he wants to be in her reality, will completely change. And you're engaged and married in a few months, living our best life. You see this all of the time with people where a guy will just breadcrumb one woman and then he will marry the next woman and treat her like a princess. He is responding to her energy. People respond to your energy. Clients respond to your energy, and it's all subconscious, right? So I'm telling you, this is the hack, ladies. This is the hack that will change your life. And it does take practice. And it's not just with relationships, it's with your health, it's with your life. You've been given a diagnosis. And, this is stuff I teach my ladies, how to shift timelines, shift realities to quantum leap and get your healing. Get your healing. Your healing is yours. God wants you to be healed. God wants you to be healed in all areas of your life at the same time. You get to prosper and be in health even as your soul prospers. This is not my idea. This is God's idea. Okay? God doesn't want us to be a widow and an orphan. He doesn't want us walk around like peasants, begging for prayers, begging for blessings, begging for money, begging for health and healing, begging for a husband, begging for the house and the home and your bills to be paid. We are not peasants, ladies. That is an old paradigm. That is an old paradigm. And you are meant to hear this for a reason. But once again, God's already put the system in place, this abundant universe in place. It's already done. God will never force us to do anything, right? Because that's unhealthy masculine energy. God has given us freedom. God is love. So we have the freedom. We have the choice to decide what reality we're in. Creation is already done. He's already made it. We're already the bride. We're already Christ's bride. We're already the queen, like Queen Esther. We're already remarried, like Ruth. We're already married. We're already, God has already given us the keys to the kingdom. But for most people, the missing link is it's all that knowledge is up in your head. You know this at a head knowledge. You know that you can't put new wine into old wineskin. You know that. You've been praying the same prayers over and over and over again, but you still haven't seen the manifestations of it. Why? Because your consciousness is still a widow. You're still a widow. You're acting like a widow. You're acting like a peasant. I wasn't planning on saying this, but this is obviously for somebody right now. And I understand this because that was me too. What's so interesting? I actually was a widow. I actually was widowed, right? And God gave me this revelation of being the divine feminine, of being the queen, of being the bride, of not being a peasant, of not begging God for my blessings, not begging God for healing, not begging God for money, not begging God for a dream life for me and my kids. He gave me that revelation that no, I am a bride. I don't have to beg. I've already been given everything. But most people, it's only at a head knowledge. It was my responsibility to then take that and embody it. Embody it, meaning that it's at a nervous system level. We are transformed by the renewing of our mind. You are transformed by embodying this. And yes, we need the repetition. That is what this is neuroscience. And neuroscience says that our nervous system, our neural pathways requires the repetition. It requires that repetition. This is what God's talking about when he's talking about pruning the old circuits in your life. It's those old nervous system patterns, those old neural networks that need to be tethered, or not to be tethered, need to be cut off because they're tethering you to your old reality. Let me know in the comments if you guys are picking up what I'm laying down, because I wasn't planning on going this deep with you on YouTube, but yeah, I just felt like I need to do that, and I will answer your guys' questions in a second. But let me know in the comments if you're on the wavelength that I'm talking about right now. But anyway, so going back to the nervous system, that is going to be your starting point. Ask yourself, is my nervous system programmed to match that new reality that I'm calling in? And you know that your nervous system is programmed to match that new reality because it feels normal for you. That's your key right there. So, for example, relationships, okay? Does it feel normal for you to be spoiled, provided for, married? A man wants to marry you, and he's not just telling you that, he's actually proposing. That's normal for you. He shows up consistently. You're in a secure, healthy relationship together. You get to be in your soft feminine with him. He has integrity. He's faithful. He doesn't leave you feeling anxious and confused as a woman. He doesn't leave you feeling like you're guessing if he likes you or he's into you or where he's going to be or what he's going to do. He doesn't leave you like, no, he is showing up consistently for you. He is all in. He has fully chosen you and he's told the whole world that you're his bride. Does that feel normal for you? Does healthy relationships feel normal for you? If that doesn't feel normal for you, that means that there's some nervous system work that we got to do. We got to normalize that internally. Another scenario, okay. Does it feel normal for you to get paid to exist? Does it feel normal for you that you're not trading time for money? Does it feel normal for you that you can be in alignment doing what God has called you to do, like what I'm doing right now? You're in assignment. This does not feel like work to me at all. I'm doing what God's told me to do. I'm enjoying it. I love it. And then after this, I'm going to be chilling for the rest of the day. Going to go work out, go hang out with my family, maybe go take a nap. And money comes in from multiple income streams 24/7. That's my reality, right? That's normal for me. It didn't start out that way. Trust me. I was a struggling mom before, but I've normalized that. Does it feel normal for you that you feel so good in your body? You have no joint pains. You are literally aging in reverse. You have energy. Your hormones are balanced. Your cells are radiating health. You just have energy and high libido and just so much strength. And you just feel so confident every time you're putting your clothes on, even if you're 75 years old and you're watching this, even if you're in your 20s and you want to have babies, like that does not matter. Does that feel normal for you? That's your birthright, babe, that you get to feel normal. That gets to feel normal for you. But for most people, we have normalized suffering. We have normalized toxicity. We have normalized lack. And that was never God's plan. But because God is the head, the divine masculine provider, protector, in order for him to be the true divine provider protector, he can't force himself onto you. That's rape energy. We call that rape energy, right? So that a healthy masculine will never, ever force himself onto you. We have that free choice to receive or not, right? So that's with God too, where he won't contradict that. So he will never force himself onto you. So even though you have access, a lot of times we're blinded by that. We don't see, we have these blocks, these subconscious blocks that are not allowing us to see what's right here for us. I'm going to give you two perfect examples. This happened just recently where two women I'm thinking, we've had so many engagements lately. It's crazy. It's amazing. But two women I'm thinking of specifically, and I've seen this over and over and over again with different women where they come to us and they're in a situationship, okay? And they're like, I'm done. I know I'm done. This time I'm done for good. And they do the inner work. They heal their nervous system. They heal their love blocks. They heal their man wounds. They attract their husband so fast. It was like the husband was waiting there for them. And it's like they couldn't see him because they were in the frequency of situationship. I am telling you, girls, I see this over and over and over and over again. This is not a one off. This is so many women that I've coached over the years. So if this is resonating with you, it's because the situationship that you're in right now is probably blocking your husband. You are in the reality right now. If you desire to be married and you've been doing some of the work that I'm teaching, and you know how to shift realities and shift and be in a different timeline, you're in the timeline right now where your husband is there. He's there, but he might not be able to see you, or you might not be able to see him because you're still dealing with that situationship. That situationship still has access to you. And so you're on a different frequency. It's the same thing with finances. Exact same thing with finances. God is like, I've blessed you, girl. I've blessed you with so much abundance, but you're still holding on to that old job, or you're still holding on to that old business model, or you are just not willing to take that leap of faith, right? And I'm not saying this is for everybody, but for those that this is resonating for, this message is for you. And because and you're just tuned into the other reality. You're in the other frequency instead of being in the frequency that God's called you to be the bride, to be the queen, not to be the widow, not to be the peasant girl. You're not a peasant girl. You're not a widow. You're not a slave. Okay? You're a slave if people have power over you. You're a slave if a person or a situation has power over you. If they are getting to you, if they are striking nerves in you, as my husband always says, Coach B, if you have a trigger to pull, then people have power over you. We got to get rid of those triggers. Because what will happen is if you don't heal that nervous system and heal those triggers, you will call in that dream job or that, dream business model, or, these opportunities will come to you, the men will come to you, but until you heal those triggers, it's going to pull you right back into that old reality. Okay? So that was definitely for somebody. That was only part 1. The second thing, so we talked about the energetics around your new reality. Okay? But equally important is the structure, the masculine structure. So how I explain this to women, because sometimes there's so much mixed messaging online, and people sometimes are like, manifestation is demonic. It's demonic. No, we all manifest whether you're conscious or not, because we're all made in God's image, and God is a creator. We are also creators. We speak and we create our reality. Life and death is in the power of the tongue, and you will eat the fruit of it. It doesn't matter if you believe in that concept or not. It's universal law. It's what God's already done it. So even if you don't believe that you're going to eat the fruit of the words that you speak, you will, because God's already put that into place, right? We reap what we sow. So that means that's a great thing, because when we're awakened to this, we can intentionally create our reality. God's given us that power, that God's given us those tools, right? And so how I explain this to the ladies is like, God does not miss, okay? The physical realm just mirrors the spiritual realm. And so you need a sperm and you need an egg to create a baby. Yes or no? Like, you just can't deny it. You need a sperm that represents the masculine, and you need the egg, which represents the feminine. And they both need to be whole, and they both need to be healthy. And you need, at the end of the day, you need a man and a woman to make a baby, period. Okay, that's how God has designed things, right? And so, but that mirrors the spiritual realm. And so anything that you are calling in, you want to manifest into reality in your life, you need the feminine energetics, or you can, another way to look at this, if you don't want to think of feminine, masculine, look at it as the seen and the unseen. The seen and the unseen. So look at the feminine as the unseen. If you think of the woman's body part, she receives. That's the unseen part. The seen is the structure, the output. The output is the masculine. It's the structure. It's the doing. Okay. The feminine is the receiving. This is how God's, I'm not trying to be weird. This is how God's created things. This is also scripture when it talks about we walk by faith and not by sight. But also, faith without works is dead. So what's God is telling you, the formula. You need the faith and you need the works. You need the feminine receiving. The feminine receiving is the faith part where you can't see, right? You can't see, you're walking by faith. That's the unseen part. That's the energetics. And you need the works. You need the actions. You can't just sit on your bum. Okay? Even when God is saying, be still, know that I'm God, he's not talking about just sit down and not do anything. No, he's talking about this, what we're talking about. You're walking by faith and not by sight. But the faith without works is dead. So you're still taking that messy action. So that brings me to my second point. The reason why you're stuck, the reason why you feel like your prayers aren't being answered, or you feel like you keep spinning your wheels, is because it could be that you're missing the masculine piece, you're missing the structure piece. It could be boundaries, it could be a system, it could be a simple strategy. Something so simple. Like, for example, in my situation, I did so much inner work when it came to dating and getting married again. I realized I had a lot of inner healing I had to do. I was doing a lot. And that really is the majority of it, is your energetics and your inner healing. God never told me to go chasing after a man ever. But the simple strategy and the messy action that I took, I call it messy action because it never feels like you know what you're doing. That's normal. But you're still walking by faith, right? You're still doing the works part. But so for me, I went on a dating app. I met my husband on Bumble, right? And I'm not saying that's going to be for everybody, but that was the action piece. I had to take the action piece. So you could do all the faith part. You can do all the energetic part. Like you're praying, you're meditating, you're affirming, you're listening to audios. That is so, so important. I mean, that's the majority of the Feminine Energy Academy is I'm really helping you with that reprogramming energetically. But then you also have to do the works part. And then so people are like, well, what do I need to do? Well, I don't know what your situation is, so I can't tell you what to do. But I mean, you come to God and you ask him for wisdom. He's going to give you wisdom. He's going to give you strategy. And if you're watching this, it could be that there's some strategy you need to learn from me. There could be some strategy you need to learn from the Feminine Energy Academy. There could be some strategy you need to learn from Coach B, or maybe it's from somebody else, and that's fine too, right? But when you do your part, which is the biggest part, which is you being the bride, you being that feminine receiving, where you're working on your energetics, you're doing your nervous system healing, you are doing your re-regulating, you're healing your love blocks, you're healing your receiving blocks, you're learning about your emotions, even if it's your first time in your entire life. Girl, it was the first time for me just a couple of years ago. I was in my 30s and I had no idea how to deal with my emotions. I literally Googled it. I coached a class on Saturday. I was telling the ladies this in the Feminine Energy Academy. Like, this is how far I've come. Okay. I literally Googled after my first husband passed away and I was traumatized and I was widowed with 4 little kids and I could not handle my emotions. I knew how to pray. I knew scripture, I knew the promises of God, but I didn't know how to shift how I was feeling, right? And that's so many women. And then you just blame it on the devil. Everything is the devil's fault. You're just being attacked. It's another spiritual attack, right? No, like that's not how God has intended it. That is not taking dominion over the earth. You are the earth, the body. We're made from the dust of the ground. That you have to take dominion. You have to take dominion over your emotions. You have to take dominion over your nervous system. You have to take dominion over your hormones. And I am speaking about hormones because that for women, that is a huge thing too. Where a lot of times you're battling and you're thinking you're being demonically attacked, and really you're just menopausal and perimenopausal, and you just need to go and like get some hormone replacement, or you need to, be in one of my programs where I can teach you how to rebalance your hormones. And I'm laughing, but it's so true because I deal with women all day, every day. And a lot of times, it's just that your hormones, you need help with your hormones, babe. It controls how you feel. How are you supposed to quantum leap, live in this new reality, where you have the dream husband, you have the dream marriage, you have the dream business, you have the energy for it. You have the energy to take care of your body. You have the energy for all these things. How are you supposed to do that if you don't feel good in your body? You can. It's going to feel like an uphill battle. And then what's going to happen is you're going to start shaming yourself. You're going to start beating yourself up because you feel like you're spinning your wheels and you're frustrated and you're crazy and you're depressed and you're anxious. And really, you just got to work on your hormones and your nervous system, work on your emotions, and then learn some new strategy. There could be a skill gap there. That's the output side of it. That's the doing side. But I'm telling you, girl, like the 90% of this is your energetics. And I see this all day, every day with the women that I coach, where they're experiencing a whole new reality in different areas of their life at the same time, where they're losing the weight. They're reversing the PCOS. They're shrinking the fibroids. They're reversing the perimenopause, menopause symptoms. They're getting pregnant. The women that want to get pregnant, they're experiencing that. And they're attracting the amazing man, and they're getting engaged, and their marriages are turning on, and they finally realize, maybe they have the strategy, but it was their nervous system that was keeping them stuck with launching that podcast or starting that business or expanding their social media because they have wounds around being afraid of being seen. Let me just pick up. I'm going to see if you guys have questions. You guys can start dropping your questions. here. Hold on. Do I know honey, I don't know the password to this. I forgot it. I don't know if you're watching right now. If you are watching, can you come help me? Anyway, what I can do this too. Let's see. Okay. My Instagram is Miadora Babes. Miadora Babes. So if you have any questions, honey, I totally forgot what the password was. If you have direct questions, you can message me on Instagram. Or if you're in the Feminine Energy Academy, you can message me in the Feminine Energy Academy. Tell me your story. Tell me what you're going through. Because in there, I have thousands of dollars worth of coaching programs for you. And we're touching on what I call the trifecta. So thanks, Bibi, so much. Um, Hopefully it won't log out because I forget what the password is. But anyway, um, I help women with the great trifecta, which is we work on your nervous system, we work on your feminine energy, and we work on your hormones because you cannot separate those. Now, I help women specifically in their body and their weight loss. I help women with their dating and their marriage life. So we have so many women getting engaged and married right now. And then I help you with your money energetics because for a woman, you can't separate these things. Us feeling safe in our nervous system has to do with our finances, has to do with our relationships, and that's going to directly affect your hormones, right? So, yes, if you need a reboot, this is your place. The reason why I created the Feminine Energy Academy is because I was the girl that spent thousands of dollars on coaching programs and coaches. And I'm grateful that I did, of course, but I was still stuck. I was still stuck. And the biggest thing for me was the nervous system. I I did not realize how dysregulated I was. Understandably so. I went through a major trauma. Like if you lost a marriage, that is a major trauma, even if it was through a divorce. If you went through a breakup, that's traumatic for a woman. That's traumatic to her nervous system. If you went through a loss of a job or a business or finances, or you feel like you're drowning in finances, you're drowning in debt, that is traumatic to a woman's nervous system and hormones. And there's a lot of times people don't understand that. And you can have coaches that can't relate to that, right? And there's no shade at all, but sometimes people can't, they just don't understand, right? And so for me, when I learned how to rewire my nervous system and re-regulate my nervous system so I wasn't so dysregulated, that's what changed everything for me. And that's why women say that that's the missing piece for them when they come into my program, because we work on the hormones and the nervous system. So for example, there's a lot of women that are like, I want to they want to expand in their business. They want to start on social media. They're feeling called to start the podcast or whatever it is that you're doing, right? But you don't have the energy, or you're so anxious. You are so stressed. You are so overwhelmed. Plus you're a single mom, or maybe you're going through a divorce or just coming out of divorce. Your nervous system is so dysregulated, girl, right? And then you're in that shame cycle. And you're probably super smart. You're probably super educated. And you're probably super successful. And if people looked at you from the outside, they would have no idea, right? That was me. People would have no idea what I was going through. The amount of shame I was dealing with, the amount of just dysregulation I had that functional freeze, right? Procrastination is huge, right? And so that's why I created Feminine Energy Academy. That's why I help women in all three areas. And it's kind of like a buffet where whatever it is that you really need to focus on today is what we focus on that day, where I have literally hundreds of hours worth of audios in there, master classes, trainings, inner healings. So depending on what you need that day, that's what you focus on. This is why a lot of women will they'll replace their social media with a Feminine Energy Academy for a few months just to help them with the reboot, help them with their nervous system reboot, help them with their feminine energy, help them just heal the relationship with money, with receiving. just help get their hormones back on track. This is why I have such high success rates with reversing PCOS and shrinking fibroids and healing gut issues with my late husband, my first husband, passed away from colon cancer. Okay. He was undiagnosed for a year because he had all these symptoms, but they just went undiagnosed. I take this stuff so seriously. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I deeply, deeply understand how the nervous system affects your health and how that not only affects your finances, not only affects your love life and your dating life, but affects your hormones, affects everything else. You cannot separate it. Okay, that was my little TED talk. Let me answer some of you guys' questions now. Okay, there are so many programs. Do they maintain quality? Do they maintain quality? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Exactly. Maybe you can clarify what you mean by that. Oh, did I just lose the questions? Um, Okay, receiving. Can we work on receiving? Yes. Let me give you some signs that you have receiving blocks. The entire Feminine Energy Academy is to help you at a nervous system level, at an energetic level, heal your receiving blocks. I had receiving blocks. Here are some signs that you have receiving blocks. Okay. You tend to overgive. You tend to be the giver. You're the nice girl. You struggle with receiving compliments. So if somebody gives you a compliment, right away you're like, for example, they're like, "Oh, nice hair." You're like, no, my hair it's a messy." Or like they compliment your body, they compliment your outfit, but you can't receive that. You're just like thinking about what's wrong, what you need to fix in your body. That's an example. Another common example of receiving block is that you can't receive gifts. So, or you buy stuff or people give you gifts and you like the tags stay on them, on the clothes, they stay in your closet. That is a huge sign that you have a receiving blocks. You don't attract men that want to provide for you. You end up having to take care of people because you're so used to taking care of people. This is a lot of my single mamas where a lot of my single mamas are so used to being the provider that you're not even the frequency of receiving. It's so normal for you. Here's another obvious one, okay? When when you're walking up to a door, you're the one that always opens the door for people. You don't know how to slow down and allow someone else to open the door for you, right? These are receiving blocks. So you'll also notice a receiving block. This is a huge one with women in finances. You don't know how to raise your prices. You don't know how to ask for a raise if you're in a job or work in a job or have a business where you're getting paid more money because you have all these beliefs of all the reasons why people shouldn't be paying you more money. That's a major receiving block. You're just the type of men you attract into your life. Are you attracting high quality men that want to provide for you, that show up consistently for you, that want to spoil you, that want to marry you, that would be afraid to lose you? Are you attracting those types of men? Or are you attracting men that breadcrumb you, that are inconsistent, that kind of just do whatever they want because they know you're going to be there, right? Here's another receiving block, ladies, with your body hormone issues. Hormone issues are a big sign of receiving blocks because for all my boss babes, you are so used to running off of adrenaline and cortisol and dopamine. You're constantly chasing, you have really high highs, and then you have really low lows. How do I know this? Because I coach you all day, every day. And I used to be like that too. When you have healed your receiving blocks, you know how to receive, you know how to give, of course, because you want to be able to circulate things in your life. You're a cheerful giver and you're a cheerful receiver. And in all areas of your life, with the masculine, with finances, with your body, you know how to take naps guilt free. You know how to go to bed on time to get that beauty sleep. You know how to take time out of your busy week, even if you're a single mom with 4 kids, like how I was, and you know how to make time for you. You know how to invest into yourself, into programs to help you with your body, with your hormones, with your glow up, learn how to date, learn how to, re regulate your feminine energy. learn how to, start that business that you've been wanting to do, you know how to receive that. You are your highest return on investment. That's what I teach my ladies. You're your highest return on investment. Another sign of a receiving block is that you don't receive coaching. You can't receive feedback. That is what's going to help you quantum leap and shift timelines so quickly, faster than what other people experience, is that you get feedback. Most people don't want feedback. This is why it's easier to scroll on social media because you're not getting any feedback. No feedback, none. You just get a nice little dopamine hit and that's it. Versus my ladies who end up getting engaged and married and able to have their dream jobs and higher cash months and, you know, um, reverse the PCOS and lose the belly weight and hormone weight. Those ladies are getting feedback from me every day, all day, right? And so they're able to make the changes quicker. So what took me 10 years might take you a couple weeks, right? That's the power of coaching. That's the power of mentorship. That's the power of discipleship. That's how God's designed it, discipleship, right? Okay. Let me see if you guys have any other questions. So, also this Saturday, actually coming up, I have another masterclass training where we're going to be expanding your money, energetics, and healing receiving blocks. Okay, that's a big thing of what I do with my ladies. So, if you're struggling in this area, you can actually try this for free. For free. You can jump in the Feminine Energy Academy right now for free, and you'll have access to that masterclass and all the other masterclasses and programs that I have in there. And then on top of that, you have access to both me and Coach B as your coaches through the whole process. This is how the women are getting great results. Okay. When you come in, tell me about your hormones, tell me about your nervous system, tell me about your money, your love life, your body, whatever it is you're calling in, so that I can get you started right away. And that is the place where you can also private message me and I can help you. Coach B is actually jumping in there today in just a few minutes, actually, at 12 o'clock, so about 40 minutes. So you can jump in there. And if you have specific questions for him, that is your time to do that. See, the Feminine Energy Academy, that is the safe place that I created for women. I wanted a judgment free zone for women. And we have women that are literally coming off of government welfare, and we have women that are like running Fortune 500 companies in there, like doctors in there. Okay. We have such a range of women, and it is your judgment free zone. You will not be judged in there, no matter what it is. I have women that have coached that have been in situationships for 30 years. I have women in there that have come out of sex trafficking. I have women in there that are just like totally successful running amazing practices right now. All of them, right? And so there's something for you, I promise, and it's your judgment free zone. And the reason why we do coaching in there versus on, on YouTube or on our podcast is because it's you get that personal coaching from us where you're not going to be judged, but a lot of times it's just a little tweak. A lot of time it's just you need a little bit of help with like maybe your dating profile or your hormones or with your nervous system. You got a love block, you got an inner child wound, you have an attachment style pattern that just needed healing. And that was like the little tweak that you needed to work on that set you free, that helped you to detach from the unhealthy situation and clear the energetic space to receive the things that you're calling in that you've been praying for. So many women that I talk to every day, they're like, you were literally an answer to prayer. And I know this because God told me that too. And so if this is resonating with you, I really encourage you to jump in. Our price is going to go up because I'm constantly adding new programs in there for you. And there's just right now, there's currently thousands and thousands of dollars worth of programs, coaching programs in there for the ladies, and the price is going to go up. So if you're even thinking about jumping in, now is your time to jump in, because once you jump in, you're locked in at that price. It will never go up for you at all. And yeah, it's going to be amazing. But anyway, I love you ladies so much. I hope this was helpful for you. So just to summarize what we talked about, you want a quantum leap, you want to shift timelines, and to really protect to really attract that provider energy in your life, whether it's through the masculine, whether it's through finances and just different things that you're calling in. the two things that I was talking about today that you really want to focus on, one is the receiving energetics, and that has everything to do with your hormones too, but your nervous system. It has everything to do with your nervous system, re-rating your nervous system, really healing those love blocks, and then hormones also play a role in that for women. Okay, how you feel, and then the second thing that you need also, which is just as important because you need the masculine and the feminine, is the strategy, is the works, is the action. And sometimes it's just a skill gap. Sometimes it's just a little tweak with your skills that you need. But when you have both parts, that's what creates that manifestation. That's what allows you to have the fruit that you're calling in your life. Anyway, I love you ladies so much. Let me know in the comments if this was helpful for you. And please message me once you're in the Feminine Energy Academy so I can help you. And then once again, Coach B will be in there in a few minutes as well to answer any of your personal questions. And I love you so much.